Dolphin Doug in sunny Juneau, Alaska. Anyway, what I'm showing you right now is sunshine. I want to answer the question of what you should do with a family on a cruise to Alaska. Now I'm driving from the Mendenhall Glacier. I'm a couple miles away from it, heading towards town. It's going to take me 15 minutes. I might cut out pieces if I don't have anything to say. But this is Juneau. You're seeing the main drag of Juneau from almost one end to the other. There's a lot more to see. There's 160 miles of road, and I'm only going to show you about 10 miles of it. But what do you do with family on your cruise to Alaska? Well, first of all, cruising to Alaska with a family is a fantastic idea because you can spend the time with those people that you need to spend time with. In many ways, you're isolated from the world like you aren't back home. For up until this year, none of the cruise lines had good Wi-Fi out on the ocean. You had to pay through your nose for it. Not many people did it. I don't even know if it worked that well. What you should really do right from the beginning is get everybody in your party to promise to make it to one meal a day. If you're organizing the tour, and if you're listening to this video, you probably are, you pick the meal. It does not have to be dinner every day. It depends on your ports and other things. Pick one meal a day. Everybody gets together at the table at the same time. It's hard to do. If you pull that off, you're going to have a wonderful cruise. People are squirrels. They travel in different directions. You are going to have a hard time rounding up squirrels. It's okay. That's where you want to encourage them through gathering in little ways that sucks them in. In Alaska, you will have approximately 3 days in port. I'm in Juneau. Virtually all of the ships come to Juneau. Most of them go to Skagway and Ketchikan as well. Some go to Icy Straits Point. Some go to Sitka, possibly even Haines. And many of them stop for just a whiff of a time in Victoria. When you're on those port calls, I highly recommend that you decide what you're going to do with the family together, and you all book tours together as much as possible. Now, if you're traveling with a dozen folks, that gets a little problematical. People want to do different things in port. But if you send 6 people going option A and 6 people going option B, you'll actually have a better time than trying to round them all up into one tour. To me, the key thing that you as the organizer should be striving to do is get family members that don't live together to spend time together, and on those tours is a wonderful way to go. There are going to be tour opportunities. Each town has a different mix. Oftentimes, you can buy the same thing in a couple of the towns, but not all of them. For instance, if you want to go whale watching, you can go whale watching in Juneau or Icy Straits Point. I call that Hoonah. It's a cute little community. I use that term. To me, they're interchangeable. If you want to go whale watching in Ketchikan, Sitka, or Skagway, your chances are much poorer. They do have marine tours. They're wonderful marine tours, but they don't have the reliability of finding whales. If you want to fly up to the ice field, you can do that from Juneau or Skagway. Ketchikan has wonderful flight tours, but they don't have an ice field nearby. Neither does Sitka, and neither does Hoonah. So if you want to do a float plane trip, you can do that in Ketchikan. You can do that here in Juneau. I don't know if you could do it in any of the other ports, but both Ketchikan and Juneau, they're different, but they're certainly wonderful. This is really nice weather for this time of year. I came up here in 1993 on either October 15th or this October 16th. It was pouring down rain. If you can figure out what videos I just made yesterday and the day before, it got to the point on this highway I could not drive 55 because the fog was so thick. Now you see the sky ahead of us. Those are sucker holes up there, that blue. There's an awful lot of cloud around us. We are not going to stay in the sunshine the whole time. If you book that tour in each port, and possibly if you're smart about it and you book on ships that spend a long time in the ports, you could even book 2 tours. That's the biggest, most important thing. As far as the activities you can do with little kids and seniors, Alaska's a really friendly place. We do the best we can to accommodate everybody. Don't try to squeeze too much in, because time runs out. You could do something like, although it's very hard, there's a playground park right over on the other side of that lake. That's Rotary Park playground. It's got big slides and houses you can go play around in. Very nice, something that Rotary did to us. You can rent a car and you can travel around and see some of these sites, but you run out of time really quickly. You're probably best off, unless you're really adventurous or if you know exactly what you want to do, you're probably best off buying a tour through the cruise ship. Now, my tours are not sold through the cruise ship. I only work with independent people, which, like you, are willing to take advice from outsiders. So if you want to come whale watching in Juneau, I'm Dolphin Doug. I run Dolphin Tours. I've been doing it since I don't know when. I told you the date. And you can certainly look us up and come out with me. I try to have local guides as much as I can. This past year, I just was able to hire a friend of mine that I have known since I started this business. He is perhaps one of the last remaining guys that did boat tours back in the 80s around Juneau. And he was a wonderful skipper for me. It's Captain Jim. If you go out with him, say hi to him. He's a good guy. So here we are coming down to Juneau. I hope that helps you a little bit on your decision on coming out with a family. If you liked what I had to say, please check out the rest of my videos. Here, if you look up the mountainside, see that big spot without the big trees? I hope you can see that. I'm driving, so I'm not going to give you the best of views. That's the Juneau avalanche zone, and it goes right down through this neighborhood, right by this high school ahead of us. And it last triggered in the 60s, about 1963 is what I'm guessing. It blew right across the channel, flipped boats in the harbor, nobody died, and they built the subdivision the next couple of years. We're going past the last couple of buildings, and we're going to be to the cruise ship dock section. You can certainly walk around here from where I am sitting right now from your cruise ship. Juneau is a very walkable town. All that driving that I did just got me to this downtown region. This is the gold mining district of Alaska. This is they pulled a whole lot of gold out from behind the mountain we're driving below. That's Mount Roberts ahead of us. And the story is it has more miles of tunnel in it than Juneau has in road.